What if I told you that millennials have built far more than what we're given credit for, but no one seems to notice? Or worse, they act like nothing happened at all. We've been labeled lazy, entitled, and unproductive, but the reality tells a different story. Let's see if there's some answers to this question about what millennials have actually built. For decades, we've been told that millennials are the problem. Too soft, too lazy, too distracted by technology. We've endured these insults for over 30 years. But here's the thing, every time millennials get criticized, someone steps up and claims to be the exception. But here's where it gets interesting. If there's so many exceptions, then maybe the rule is just plain wrong. It's time we stop accepting these blanket insults and start standing up for ourselves. I'm a millennial and you're going to hear me talking back. It's not the season to be an exception. It's about time to set the record straight. Black men with platforms spend a lot of time debunking stereotypes thrown at us, fighting the ideas that we're lazy or that we haven't contributed. And yet when it comes to millennials, those same people turn around and ask, what have you built? When people ask Black Americans, what have you built? They're erasing centuries of blood, sweat, and innovation. When they ask millennials this, they're doing the same thing. It's time we answer this question once and for all. Let's start with the most persistent myth. Millennials are lazy, entitled, and unproductive. It's a narrative that's been forced upon us for years. But is it true? We've been enduring these insults for 3 decades. It started with the whole participation trophy thing, then avocado toast, and then deading industries. But here's the truth. Those stereotypes are just noise, a distraction from our real contributions. Imagine growing up with your generation constantly blamed for everything wrong with society. It's frustrating, and it can be isolating. You may internalize what society is telling you until you begin to question, how do you get respect if you never stand up for yourself? But here's the thing, we've been standing up all along, just in ways that our critics don't want to recognize. Millennials aren't lazy. We've been forced to adapt to a world that's been in crisis ever since we've entered it. While other generations had pathways available to them, we came of age during recessions, job shortages, qualification inflation, and skyrocketing living costs. We had to innovate to survive, and that's exactly what we did. Millennials absolutely do build. We just build differently. We don't construct factories or skyscrapers. Instead, we build digital platforms that connect the world. We build movements that challenge injustice. We redefine what it means to create value in the 21st century. And some of us have made extraordinary sacrifices to move the ball forward. There are millennials that went to war and dropped out of college. There are millennials who protested for justice after Mike Brown was deleted. They were harassed by police, and some of them lost their careers, their livelihoods, and so much more. They gave everything to stand up for justice. I didn't make those major sacrifices. I climbed to the top of my field in my state, but I refused to let people denigrate the contributions of those millennials that did give up everything to make the world a better place. We can't ignore their sacrifices just because their fight doesn't nicely fit into a degrading narrative. We didn't just sit back, we built. And we're not exceptions, we're the rule. We created a digital revolution, transforming industries from tech to entertainment to finance. We're building the future because the past left us no choice. It's time to bury the stereotypes and start giving credit where credit is due. Because if we don't stand up for ourselves and set the record straight, then we're betraying heroic sacrifice and won't be worthy of respect. Okay, let's get into what millennials have actually built. While some call us the social media generation, they overlook one crucial fact. We didn't just use technology, we pioneered it. We built the platforms that connect the world. Facebook redefined communication. Instagram gave people a new way to share their lives visually. TikTok, that's millennials' innovation, driving a global cultural shift in how we consume entertainment and information. Oh, and let's not forget Snapchat. It changed the game on how we interact with each other online. But it doesn't stop there. Millennials have been driving technological revolution in fields that go beyond social media. We're at the forefront of artificial intelligence, developing machine learning technologies that are reshaping industries from healthcare to finance. We're using AI to solve problems that older generations couldn't even imagine. And it wasn't just in the tech industry where millennials made their mark. Take the Higgs boson, for example. Did you really think that no millennials were involved in validating the existence of one of the most important discoveries in modern physics? The truth is that many millennials were a part of the teams at CERN, working tirelessly to analyze the data that confirmed the Higgs in 2012. And remember the gig economy. Companies like Uber, Airbnb, and Lyft, all driven by millennials, revolutionized how we think about work and travel. We didn't just innovate how people get from point A to point B. We disrupted entire industries, giving people more flexibility and control over their time and resources. Think about that. At a time when the traditional job market was failing us, millennials didn't wait for somebody else to hand us opportunities. We created them. We redefined what it means to hustle, adapt, and thrive in a world that wasn't built for us. Millennials were also early adopters of cryptocurrency and blockchain technology, seeing the potential for a decentralized financial future. While older generations doubted its legitimacy, millennials recognized the power of digital currencies like Bitcoin and the security and transparency of blockchain. So when they ask what we built, remind them that we didn't just innovate technology, we created entire ecosystems. From the social media platforms that connect billions to AI that's changing the world, to the gig economy that's revolutionizing work, millennials have built frameworks for the digital age. Now, some might try to argue that the foundations of the technological revolution was laid by previous generations, and therefore our innovations don't count. But let's be real, that's a dishonest argument. We don't say that the Model T Ford wasn't revolutionary because the horse and buggy existed, or that the airplane wasn't a game changer because someone else invented the wheel. Every generation builds on the discoveries of the past. That's how we make progress. The smartphone didn't just pop out of nowhere, but it wouldn't be what it is today without the leaps and innovations that millennials have made, like mobile apps, social media, and streaming. The internet may have been conceived in the 1960s, but it was the millennials who turned it into the driving force behind social media, e-commerce, and global connectivity. We didn't just build tech, we built a foundation for the future, and the truth is, we're just getting started. But millennials didn't just change technology, we also transformed society. We took on the biggest social issues of our time. We're the generation behind movements that shocked the world. Take Occupy Wall Street, a protest led largely by millennials that exposed the deep inequities in our financial systems and sparked global conversation about wealth, power, and fairness. It wasn't just a protest, it was a statement. Millennials actually called out the 1% that actually hold power over us all. Then there's the justice and accountability protests, one of the most significant civil rights movements of our time, founded by millennials. We've taken to the streets, to social media, to the halls of power, demanding justice, accountability, and change. We didn't just tweet hashtags, we pushed for policy, corporate accountability, and awareness that's now global. We've also transformed activism. Digital platforms created by millennials became powerful tools for mobilizing millions around causes that matter. Whether it's climate change or racial justice, we've harnessed the power of social media not just to spread awareness, but to drive real-world action. But it's not just social movements where millennials made a mark. In finance, millennials pioneered ethical investing, a revolutionary shift in how we think about money. We didn't just want to make a profit, we wanted to make a difference. From green bonds to impact investing, we've pushed for investments that align with our own values. That means putting our money into companies that are reducing their carbon footprint, paying fair wages, or pushing for a just world. We're not just talking about change, we're investing in it. Millennials have driven the rise of social entrepreneurship, businesses that don't just aim for profit, but also for positive social impact. We're investing in companies that are tackling poverty, reducing waste, and creating sustainable solutions for the future. When older generations ask what have millennials done financially, the answer is clear. We've transformed what it means to succeed. Success is no longer about individual wealth, it's about collective well-being. It's about our financial power to shape a better world. We aren't just building for ourselves, we're building for future generations, and we're using every tool we have, from protests to portfolios, to make sure that the future is more just, more equal, and more sustainable than the one we got. When people ask what millennials have built, the answer is clear. We've built platforms that connect billions, movements that reshape society, and financial systems that reflect our values. We didn't just survive the crisis that we were thrown into. We adapted and we innovated. Millennials have created a blueprint for the future, not just for ourselves, but for everyone that comes after us. Imagine being a part of a generation that's constantly criticized, yet continues to build a better world. That's who we are. We're not exceptions. We're the generation that's reforming the system. From driving the digital revolution to the social revolution, we've been building the future all along. It's time to stand up, own our contributions, and stop letting others control the narrative. We may have inherited a world in crisis, but we're shaping it, brick by brick, bite by bite, protest by protest. The future is millennial built, and it's just getting started. If you're tired of hearing the same old garbage about millennials, let's flip the script together. Hit the subscribe button and check out my other videos and join the conversation. Let's remind the world what we've built and what we're still building.